Welcome to Tales from the Graves, coming to you from the beautiful village of Downham, situated in the Ribble Valley. This gorgeous village is no stranger to television and movies. Some great films were made here, including Whistle Down the Wind and BBC Television's Born and Bred and The Ghosts of Crinkley Hall. But this is the Christmas edition of Tales from the Graves, and we're going to cover a story that does in fact take in the public house behind us, the church here, and the local lanes. We're going to cover the story of Jane Gill, the girl found in a pool of water in 1831. Our story starts in the City of London at the Central News Agency and a gentleman called John Padstow. John is a journalist, but he's also a very, very keen walker. When he plans a holiday, he plans it to sheer perfection. He will buy a map of an area, he will scrutinise the map and work out how long it would take him to walk from one town to the other. He would also write to the local public houses and book in for the evening. He got the London train from King's Cross to Skipton, spent one night in Skipton, and they made the journey from Skipton down this very, very lane to the Asherton Arms in Downham, where he'd previously booked in for the night. He'd underestimated the time it would actually take him to get from Skipton to Downham. As he walked down this very, very country lane, the clouds above him seemed to get darker. The trees above his head seemed to touch each other, and a wind whipped up. It then became very dark. The moon came up, and in the distance, he saw what looked like a sheep sitting in the centre of the road. As he walked towards what he thought was the sheep, it was indeed a young lady sitting in a pool of water, combing her hair, wearing a long white dress. John said, "What's wrong? Can I help you? Can I help you?" The figure didn't turn. In fact, it didn't even make contact. John realised he was looking at something from the other world. He rushed past the object, ran down the lane, and he caught on the wind the words, "Where are you? Where are you?" We now continue our story further down the lane. So John Padstow arrived here shivering with fear. He'd seen something very, very paranormal. He made his way inside the Asherton Arms, was met by the landlord, John Wiseman, who said, "Are you okay, mate? You look a bit jaded." "Actually, I've seen a young girl in a pool of water." That's when the landlord said, "You've seen the ghost of Jane Gill. She's been with us since 1831. Jane Gill was a beautiful 19-year-old young lady. She was the envy of all the local farm lads in the area. Many a boy had a soft spot for her. However, Jane had eyes for one man, and he was called Michael Brown. Michael was a farm hand who lived in the nearby village of Chapman. They planned to get married just after their 20th birthdays in the village of Downham at Downham Church on Christmas Day of that year. They planned their happy, happy day. However, there was a lot of jealousy headed towards Michael because he'd got the best girl in the area, and as a result, he was disliked intensely by the local farm lads in the area. And many a landlord in the surrounding areas heard the words, "I'd like to crack his skull. He's got the best lass in the area." On Christmas Eve, 1831, the day before the marriage was going to take place, Michael's horse was found in this very field by itself. His body was located 2 fields down the lane with terrible cranial injuries. The local doctor arrived and looked at Michael's body. He said, well, these injuries don't look consistent with falling from a horse, but there's no one around here, so therefore I shall put the case down as death by misadventure. Word filtered back to the farm behind me. Jane's father heard the news. Of course, he was terribly upset, but he couldn't bear to tell his daughter of this terrible tragedy. On Christmas Day, 1831, Jane put her wedding dress on. She made her way to the front room and saw her mother and father looking glum. "Mother, father, you should be happy for me. What's wrong?" Her father then said, "Jane, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Michael will not be coming today." "Why? Why?" "He's dead." The poor girl's heart was snapped in two. The tears spilled down her cheeks. She rushed down this very lane. Her father was about to follow her when her mother said, "No, no, no, let her deal with it in her own way." 2 hours passed. Jane's father lit an oil lamp and walked down the lane. In the distance, he found his daughter dead in a pool of water. She'd somehow drowned in a shallow pool of water. By her side was a comb. It seemed that John Padstow from the Central News Agency had come across the ghost of Jane Gill, whose only crime was to fall in love with a young boy. They say that Jane's ghost still haunts this very, very lane, and she's been seen by many people throughout the last 2 centuries. A story from the heart, and very much a Christmas ghost story.